Michael Monkey Vaughn, a curious little boy who went missing from around SW9 that in Fruitland, Idaho. 559 days ago. He is 6 years old now. He went missing when he was 5 years old. Michael has missed one birthday, 2 Christmases and family birthdays and holidays. He also would be in the 1st grade now. We all need to do what we can do to bring this baby home to his family. Things we can do is as large as pray. There is prayer in numbers. Please continue to keep this beautiful baby in your thoughts and prayers. https://www.findmichaelvaughn.com/how-can-you-help. Ways to help for Michael and latest updates are found at the findmichaelvaughn.com or the Fruitland Police Department Facebook page. Today's discussion will be on the latest updates of the case. He's out there. Where is Michael Vaughn?
We begin with that breaking news that we've been following out of Fruitland. That's where crews are wrapping up a search at a home for the night. Fruitland police say the search is all in connection with the disappearance of Fruitland boy Michael Vaughn. And that search is at a home in Fruitland, just about 4 minutes away from the Vaughn's home. Our crews on scene say it's just across the street in another neighborhood. And that's where KTVB's Morgan Romero and Alex Duggan join us live from. And you both have been out there for hours. I know we checked in with you on the news at 5. What are you seeing now?
Yeah, you know, Shira, crews wrapped up about 30 minutes ago. We had Fruitland Police out here, Idaho State Police, Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, as well as some human remains canines. And they were, it is confirmed, looking for the remains of missing Michael Vaughn, affectionately known as Monkey. It happened in this house behind us in the backyard. You can see some heavy machinery there that was digging in this backyard earlier. They demolished a piece of this fence. They also cut down a tree. And Alex was out here a couple hours before me. Alex, what else did you see and what are you hearing?
Well, Morgan, the backhoe that we have right here was digging up the backyard. We were in the backyard of a neighbor's house looking in. The investigators were all in the backyard. I mean, we had Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, we had Idaho State Police, we had Fruitland Police. And, you know, Huff said they haven't found anything yet, but they're going to keep searching. They're going to be back out here tomorrow morning, bright and early. And, you know, we know that a credible lead had sent them back to Fruitland originally.
Exactly. Reiterating again, Chief Huff calling this a very credible lead, and that's what led them to this home on Red Wing Street in Fruitland. In a press conference earlier this summer, they said that they had been tracking more than 1,200 leads since the disappearance of Michael Vaughn on July 27th, 2021. And that lead, a very credible lead, had led them back to the area of Fruitland. It's also important to note that the couple who lives in this home, Chief Huff confirming a couple lives in this home, he's not aware of any connection between the Vaughn family and the couple that lives here. Again, they're going to be back out here tomorrow morning at 9:30. They've been out here since last night, and they obtained a search warrant to come into the backyard of this home. Continue to stay on top of this, again, very credible lead that Fruitland Police is following up on into the night and into tomorrow morning. Back to you.
Thanks, Alex and Morgan. Again, the crews wrapped up about 30 minutes ago. They'll be back out there tomorrow morning.
(2022) update. The search for Michael Joseph Vaughn. The search continues for Michael Joseph Vaughn, now age 6. We will not stop searching and investigating his abduction until we find Michael and bring those involved to justice. Through the course of our investigation, we received credible information that the remains of Michael Vaughn could be found in the backyard of 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland. As a result, the Fruitland Police Department was granted a search warrant for the residence along with to include the front and backyards. The search warrant was served on Friday, November 11th, in the late evening. Upon entry, officers encountered Sarah Wondra 35, one of the known occupants of the home. Fruitland police arrested Sarah Wondra 35, as there is probable cause to believe that she had knowledge of Michael's death and failed to report the death to law enforcement. The following day, the Fruitland Police Department, joined by the Idaho State Police, Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, Fruitland Fire Department, and the Fruitland Public Works Department, began a very methodical excavation of the backyard of Wondra's home. Ground conditions have not impeded the excavation. The Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue deployed specialty K9s during the excavation. At this stage in the investigation, it is important that nothing is missed, so law enforcement will continue to excavate and search the property. It's a slow process, but we will continue until we're confident that the search of the property is complete. Chief J.D. Huff said, "We are encouraged and remain hopeful that our investigation will lead us to the truth. It is our belief that there are others who have knowledge of the abduction and death of Michael Vaughn. This investigation is ongoing." To date, the Fruitland Police Department has received over 1,500 tips and leads. "We have received many new leads since this portion of the investigation began on Friday. We would ask for your patience as we continue to work through this. We would also ask that the Vaughn family's privacy be respected. We will post updates as information can be shared. If someone has or learns of information that can help find Michael, we want that information now. Tips can be sent to Find Michael at fruitland.org or to Crime Stoppers, 343cops.com. Tips may remain anonymous. Please keep Michael in your prayers. Official updates will posted to this Facebook page.
Police began searching a house in Fruitland for the remains of Michael Vaughn, the 5-year-old boy who went missing in July of last year.
And while we wait for updates on that search for Michael Monkey Vaughn, members of the community have been coming together with their own ways to help the Vaughn family.
News Channel 7's Jude Binkley was at the Fruitland Community Park where a prayer circle is planned for Michael Vaughn.
A community prayer circle is set to take place here at the Fruitland Community Park Wednesday night at 6. People will be coming together to send prayers to Michael, his family, and everyone involved in the ongoing search. The prayer circle is being organized by a community Facebook group dedicated to Michael. They've held other events for Michael in the past.
We have been pleasantly surprised by the way the Fruitland community, Ontario, Payette, all the surrounding areas, and then across the country and across the world come together to just even share words of encouragement if they can't do anything else. So it's been very humbling to see the amount of people come forward and help this family in one way, shape, or form.
Police have been searching a home in Fruitland for the remains of Michael Vaughn since November 12th. Sarah Wandra, one of the residents, has been charged with failure to report a death. Her status conference was reset to December 23rd because a judge ruled she's mentally unfit to assist in her own defense and she needs treatment. Police excavated the backyard and are now searching through the house. Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff told KTVB that they don't expect any updates on the case until after they finish their search, which will likely be Monday. Huff also said that they've got a lot of work to do over the next few days as they continue their search. Earlier today, we saw trucks unloading dirt back at the house that's being searched. As the community waits for answers, they're coming together to do what they can to support the Vaughn family.
So we were sitting at home the other day and I just kind of looked at my husband and I said, you know what? It's Thanksgiving's coming up. We still don't really have any answers as to what's going on with the Wander home and what's going on there. I think we should just do a prayer circle. And at the end of the day, it's all I really know that we have to do. You know, we can't go down there and demand answers. We're not going to get answers any faster than they're going to release them. We're not going to have justice any sooner than we would all like to see it happen. So at the end of the day, all we have is prayer.
It's been a year and a half since Michael Monkey Vaughn went missing from his Fruitland neighborhood. He was just 5 years old. And just about an hour ago, Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff says they completed the excavation of the backyard of a home just 4 minutes from the Vaughn's house on Friday. He also says they've just wrapped up searching the inside of that home today. They're looking for Michael's remains there. News Channel 7's Abby Davis joins us now live in Fruitland at a prayer circle the community organized for Michael and his family. And Abby, they want to lift up this family in this really terrible time for them.
That's right, Doug. Their biggest thing right now is just to show Michael, show the entire Vaughn family that the Fruitland community is here and that they are here to support them. Right now, there are about 50 people at this prayer circle. You can kind of see behind me, you can see those lights. People are just lighting them right now, and people are still trickling in as well. Now, the organizer told me that they will start the prayer circle with a pastor who will be praying, and then a family is also here and ready to sing some songs, So a night of really coming together, that is the biggest thing right now. They want to just come together, like I said, and make sure that the Vaughn family feels the love and feels the support in this tragedy that everybody here has been feeling so closely. Now, this isn't the first time that they've done something like this. The community came together last year as well for a candlelight vigil. That was on Christmas Eve. So this is definitely something the community is familiar with, just continuing to show the Vaughn family that they are there for them. Their biggest thing is that they just want to come together until they have answers, until they have something concrete. And like Doug said earlier, Chief Huff told me they finished processing the yard and house that Sarah Wandra lived in. Wandra has been charged with failure to report a death, but her status conference was rescheduled to December 23rd because a judge ruled that she is mentally unfit to assist in her own defense and she needs treatment. Just to clarify, Wandra was the person who lived in the house that they have been digging up the backyard and searching the house for. So Huff told me that they're not quite sure, that he said that they're looking to provide more information about what actually came out of that search next week, about Wednesday or Thursday. So of course we will keep you guys posted, but it looks like people are just continuing to come and they are starting right now. It's a pretty somber mood here right now, Doug.
It is, but a somber mood and an attempt to really uplift the family and let them know that they're thinking about them and praying for justice. Abby, live for us in Fruitland tonight.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to start out by saying thank you to our media partners. Thanks for being here. And thank you for the continued coverage of the Michael Vaughn case. I also wanted to begin by just giving my sincere thanks to all the law enforcement agencies, local businesses, and members of the public who helped us over the course of the last year and a half of this intense investigation. More recently, during the last 3 weeks, we could not have completed the work necessary without the selfless help of others. The community support has been absolutely incredible. As you know, from the time Michael went missing, this has been an all-hands-on-deck investigation, and it remains very active and an ongoing investigation. You can't take one of our most precious citizens from us and ever expect us to stop. During the course of this investigation to date, we received credible information that the remains of Michael Vaughn could be found in the backyard at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland. As a result, the Fruitland Police Department obtained a search warrant for the residence along with the front and backyards. That search warrant was served on November 11th. It was a Friday. We served that late in the evening. Upon entry, officers encountered Sarah Wandra, one of the known occupants of the home, and Sarah was subsequently arrested based on probable cause that she had knowledge of Michael's death and failed to report that death to law enforcement. The following day, the Fruitland Police Department, joined by the Idaho State Police, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, the Fruitland Fire Department, and the Fruitland Public Works Department, began a very methodical excavation of the backyard of the Wandra's home. During that excavation process, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, Mountain States detection dogs deployed multiple certified human remains detection dogs on the property, all of them alerting to the presence of human remains. Ground penetrating radar was also used and deployed, detecting anomalies in the backyard. We completed the excavation of the entire backyard and removed over 250 yards of dirt. Prior to backfilling the yard, the dirt was meticulously sifted for any potential human remains. We did not find Michael's remains. Although the remains of Michael Vaughn were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, as of today, the whereabouts of his remains are unknown. However, the investigation is active, fluid, and ongoing. Once the excavation was complete, we conducted a thorough search of the Wandra's residence. The search was productive, and additional investigative evidence was recovered and is currently being processed. Evidence suggests that the following individuals who are currently in custody are involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughn. This is Sarah Wandra, 35 years old. Sarah lives at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Sarah has firsthand knowledge and is involved in Michael's abduction. Sarah Wandra is currently being held at the Payette County Jail for failing to report a death to law enforcement. This is Sarah's husband, Stacy Wandra, 30 years old, a male. Stacy was also living at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Stacy has firsthand knowledge and is involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughn. Stacy is currently being held in the Washington County Jail on unrelated charges. Now, the next individuals I'm going to introduce you to, let's go at the bottom there. This is Brandon Shirtliff, 30 years old, of Kuna, Idaho. Brandon was living with Sarah and Stacy Wandra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe Brandon has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction. Brandon is currently believed to be in North Dakota. Adrian Lucien, 32-year-old male out of Toledo, Ohio. Adrian was staying with Sarah and Stacy Wandra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe that Adrian has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction. Adrian is currently believed to be in Toledo, but floats between Ohio and California. I strongly encourage Shirtliff and Lucien to contact the Fruitland Police Department detectives as the window of time for talking and cooperation is coming to a close. This remains an active and ongoing investigation, with conversations taking place with the Payette County Prosecutor's Office about Michael's case and those individuals involved. We also believe that there are others associated with the Wandras, Shirtliff, and Lucien who may have knowledge of Michael's abduction, and I would strongly encourage them to come forward and speak with my detectives. When we finally reach the conclusion of this investigation, and I can assure you that we will, all of those who have knowledge of Michael's disappearance and have failed to report or hindered our investigation will be pursued. There's a moment in time to do the right thing and bring your information forward and cooperate, and that moment in time is now. To date, the Fruitland Police Department has received over 1,500 tips and leads, and we received many new leads since this phase of the investigation has began. We continue to ask our community for support and patience as we continue to aggressively work this case. We also ask that the Vaughn family's privacy continue to be respected, and we'll continue to post updates as information can be shared. Tips can be sent to findmichael at fruitland.org or to Crime Stoppers at 343cops.com or the Fruitland Police Department at 208-452-3110. Tipsters can remain anonymous. So before I open it up for questions, I just want to make it clear that this is a very active and ongoing investigation. It's super important that we maintain the integrity of this investigation. So I'd ask you that you'd please tailor your questions accordingly. With that, I'll stand for a few questions. Alex?
So if Michael's remains are not found, will Sarah have to be released, or do you think that she will remain in jail once you locate the other people that you think are involved?
It is my belief that she will remain in custody. But again, we're in talks with the Payette County prosecutor, and those talks are ongoing as far as charging.
And you can't speak to any additional evidence that was found in the house, like you said, you can't?
I cannot. Again, I just don't want to jeopardize the integrity of this investigation. Leslie?
Stacy Wandra is listed as an inmate in Washington County Jail, but he's not on the Idaho court records because it's currently with federal hold. Are there any other charges aside from hers that have been filed in relation to this?
Not that I'm aware of. Not at this point. Go ahead.
What was different about the tip you received in this case after, 1,500 tips over the last almost year and a half? What led to the arrest and the search? Can you share any more about what led you to that home?
You know, I don't want to get into the details on that, but I can assure you that the tip that we received was credible. I also released that in an earlier statement that it came from one of the occupants of the home, which led to that, yes.
I'm sure that you guys in your investigation are following social media pages, which a lot of us have looked at, and one of them indicates a trip out of state taken within the time frame. I mean, without hampering the investigation, you guys are at least aware of that trip taken to get a dog?
We are currently aware of a lot. And so I would tell you that you just need to trust us and trust in this investigation. We're making tremendous progress. We're comfortable with where we're at. I appreciate that question.
So Sarah Wondra didn't pass her mental evaluation for when they were in the hearing and things. Do you think this affects the investigation at all, considering that to be the case?
I do not at this point.
There have been mentions of a neighbor's yard. Has that been searched in any way or taken into consideration in this investigation?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we'll be deploying ground penetrating radar in the neighbor's yard tomorrow. So we haven't done that yet, but we will. That's on the agenda for tomorrow. So thank you.
Okay, aside from just living with the Wanderers, do we know what the relationships of the two men you named were? How are they connected with the Wanderers?
You know, this is ongoing. I'm not going to get into the semantics and dynamics of the relationship there. Alex?
A lot of neighbors spoke to us about a scooter that maybe you guys were looking for. Can you speak to anything about, like, you had found a scooter, if that was related, or if that's something that you were possibly looking for at the Wanderers residence at all?
You know, again, that's evidentiary in nature, and I'm not going to speak to that at this point. So.
You mentioned the other property that's going to be starting to be searched tomorrow. Are there warrants for any other properties besides that have been sought out?
You know, not at this point, but, you know, through the course of this investigation, I believe that there are other locations that we will definitely be searching. So there is no warrant for the search that we're going to do tomorrow. It's all consensual. So I appreciate that.
Was the warrant that was executed in CUNA in recent weeks related to Brandon Shirtliff?
We did not have a warrant for any home in CUNA.
But was there a search related to his home?
Yes, there was.
You said that you believe that one of them is in North Dakota. You haven't located him yet. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Do you mind spelling their last names for us? I'm sorry.
Sure, I can. You obviously have the Wanderer's last name, correct? Okay. Last of Shirtliff is Shurtliff. Last of Lucien is Lucienne. Okay, all right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to conclude this press conference. Karen, one more?
One more. If neither of these individuals do come forward with information, could they face any charges related to hampering an investigation or anything like that?
You know, I would tell you that, I'm not going to discuss our investigative strategies at this point, but it is my belief that charges are forthcoming. So.
Just one last question. I know you're very proud of your team that's really done an amazing job so far. Can you talk more about that and about how they're doing?
You know,
it's got to be tough.
It is tough. You know, we've lived this case from the time that it began, and but I'm telling you, I've got a very strong, committed group of people here, and they come in here every day, and we're in this grind, and they are committed to finding Michael, and we're just not going to stop. Everybody should know that. We are not going to stop until we uncover the truth in its entirety, I would say. So, thank you. All right. Thank you.
Well, there you have a press meeting, press release, and press conference as the chief of police for the Fruitland Police Department took some questions for the first time in quite some time on the search efforts of that residential property up in Fruitland looking for Michael Vaughn, the 5-year-old boy who went missing from his home almost a year and a half ago. Our Karen Lair has been following this story. She you obviously heard Karen ask a number of questions of the police chief in the City Hall area, the police chief. Answering Karen, I guess, what he could, but he introduced 2 new characters into this plot, so to speak. And what I thought was interesting, Karen, was the mail from Cuna and from Toledo, Ohio. They want to speak to him, but they don't really know where they are. Is that correct?
That sounds right. I mean, one they believe to be in North Dakota right now, and that would be Brandon Shurtleff of Cuna, which Chief Huff did just confirm that that is the home that we had heard about a few weeks ago where a search was done. We just heard there was no warrant there, and we know nothing came of that search. There were no arrests or any evidence found in that incident either. And then the other name that we've learned today is Adrian Lucien of Toledo, Ohio. Both of these individuals we now know were staying with the Wanderers at the time that they believe Michael Vaughn went missing.
Michael Vaughn disappeared from his neighborhood more than a year ago, and today there are still so many questions surrounding what happened. Yesterday, in a news conference, Fruitland Police revealed the identities of 2 more people who they believe have firsthand knowledge in Michael's abduction. And one of those people talked with a YouTube blogger just last week. Here's a look at some of that interview. Videos circulating on social media are shedding light on 3 of the 4 people Fruitland Police named in connection with Michael Vaughn's disappearance.
It's actually really hard sometimes to be that vulnerable with people.
But who are these people? Just last week, YouTube blogger Jonathan Lee Riches talked with Brandon Shurtleff about the then 5-year-old's disappearance. This interview came 5 days before police named Shurtleff and Adrian Lucien as 2 people believed to have firsthand knowledge in Michael's abduction.
You ever hear Sarah or Stacy talk about the Vaughns or mention the Vaughns or say anything?
Never once. Not even. The only time I heard them ever mention the Vaughns is when they stopped the car that day and they said, "Hey, there's somebody that's missing in the neighborhood. His name's Michael Vaughn. Do you guys know him or know where he went?" That was the first time that came up to my attention. And then, as far as I know, they both said, no, we don't know where he's at. Let's go help look for him.
Shurtleff says he was with Sarah Wandra and Adrian the day Michael disappeared.
I was with Sarah that whole day and Adrian. And then Stacy was left home alone.
Last month, police arrested Sarah Wandra for failing to report a death. She lived in the house on Red Wing Street with her husband, Stacy Wandra. The same house police excavated and searched for Michael. Stacy Wandra is currently being held in the Washington County Jail for unrelated charges.
Although the remains of Michael Vaughn were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, that Michael was abducted and is deceased, and that his remains were buried and later moved from the property.
During Thursday's news conference, Fruitland Police said both Shurtleff and Lucien were staying with the Wanderers at the time of Michael's disappearance. Police say Lucien is believed to be floating between Ohio and California. While drinking beer and sitting in a hot tub in North Dakota, Shurtleff also revealed the Wanderers were religious or hid behind religion.
Hey, I thank God for you. I hope you say a prayer for me.
Like the whole time I was there, they just say, "Oh, we believe in God and God tells me what we should do for the day and how to help people, and we believe in doing good to the community." So I don't know why they would go from that to getting caught with guns and then trying to run off with the story that definitely didn't happen in front of my eyes.
He also revealed he was not in Idaho at the time of the interview, but his family has a home here.
The police and the detectives and everything, they've been at my mom's house since I've been gone. They're beside themselves and just scared and freaking out.
As questions continue to surround this home where all 4 people stayed at one point, still no definitive answer as to what happened to Michael. And we reached out to Fruitland Police and asked if they have seen these videos, and police tell us they have indeed watched all of them.
December 8, 2022. Update, Michael Vaughn investigation. The Fruitland Police Department continues to investigate the abduction and the location of the remains of 5-year-old Michael Vaughn. Voluntary consent was obtained to search a neighboring residence to 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland. On December 2, 2022, ground-penetrating radar and a certified human remains detection dog were deployed in the backyard of the neighboring residence. No additional evidence was found, and there was no indication that Michael had been in any other neighboring yards other than 1102 Red Wing St. The purpose of the search was an investigative step to eliminate all other possibilities. We remain confident that the evidence shows that Michael's remains had been moved, and the investigation continues as we follow all leads, Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff said. Additionally, contact has been made with the 2 outstanding individuals needed for questioning. We appreciate the community's help in providing information on the whereabouts of Brandon Shurtliff, 30, of Cuna ID, and Adrian Lucien, 32, of Toledo, Ohio. The Fruitland Police Department is working closely with the Payette County prosecutor as we continue to work this active and ongoing investigation. The Fruitland Police Department is grateful for the continued community support and patience as we pursue justice in this case. Tips can be sent to the Fruitland Police Department 208-452-3110. Tipsters may remain anonymous. Find Michael at fruitland.org or to Crime Stoppers, 343cops.com. Future updates will be released on this page as they're available. Thank you. December 23, 2022. Payette County, Idaho. Sarah Wondra, the woman arrested for failure to report the death of then 5-year-old Michael Vaughn, will have her case set back another month while she is residing in a state hospital in Blackfoot. A Payette County judge prolonged her case further on Friday by issuing another status hearing, set for January 23 at 9 a.m. Wondra was declared mentally unfit to proceed in the case, transferred to custody of the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare for treatment, and was later placed in the state hospital on December 6. The commitment order indicates she was found unfit to assist in her own defense. Therefore, proceedings against Wondra are on hold. Wondra, 35, was arrested November 12. She was one of the occupants of a house on Red Wing Street in Fruitland that investigators began searching a day earlier, after receiving a lead that came from what Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff called a very credible tip related to the disappearance of Vaughn, who was 5 years old when last seen in his Fruitland neighborhood in July 2021. Wondra is charged with failure to notify or delaying notification of a death, a felony punishable by up to 10 years in prison and a $1,000 fine if found guilty. At her initial court appearance on November 14, the judge ordered a competency evaluation. A report on the evaluation was completed 3 days later. Idaho does not have an insanity defense, but under state law, no person who, as a result of mental illness, lacks capacity to understand the proceedings against him or assist in his own defense shall be tried, convicted, sentenced, or punished, so long as such incapacity endures. Competency evaluations are conducted by at least one court-appointed psychiatrist or psychologist. Meanwhile, Michael Vaughn is still considered missing. Anyone with information that may help solve the case is encouraged to reach out. Submit tips to Crime Stoppers at 208-343-COPS, 208-343-2677, or email findmichael@fruitland.org.
And welcome back to the news at 4. Sarah Wondra, the woman charged with failing to report the death of 5-year-old Michael Vaughn of Fruitland, was scheduled to be back in court this morning for what's called a status hearing. Only she wasn't there. Wondra has been in the custody of the state mental hospital for treatment since early December. She was found to be mentally unfit to proceed in the court hearings. This morning, her attorney argued that under Idaho law, she has 90 days before the state can reassess her competency, so the judge set another status hearing for next month. She was arrested back in November after Fruitland police say they received a credible tip that she may have had something to do with Michael's disappearance. Human remains sniffing dogs alerted in Wondra's yard, but no body was found. Michael went missing back in July of 2021 while playing in the front yard of his Fruitland home.
January 26, 2023. Update: Michael Vaughn investigation. The Fruitland Police Department continues to investigate the abduction of 5-year-old Michael Vaughn. At this stage in the investigation, investigators are working to validate information and follow up on new information we have received, as a result of the last press conference. During the search warrant service at 1102 Red Wing, investigators recovered several pieces of evidence. Some of those pieces have been sent to a private DNA lab for further analysis. That process will take time and we are patiently waiting for results. This investigation is multifaceted and will take time to bring to a conclusion. Our partnerships with assisting agencies are strong and we continue to work closely with the Payette County prosecutor. We continue to ask for the community's patience as we pursue justice for Michael. The Fruitland Police Department is extremely grateful for the community support and all of those who have had the courage to bring new information forward. Tips can be sent to the Fruitland Police Department 208-452-3110. Tipsters may remain anonymous. Find Michael at fruitland.org or to Crime Stoppers, 343cops.com. Future updates will be released on this page as they're available. Thank you. Shurtlif's mother speaks. Where is Shurtlif? According to his mother, Tina Morila, he is in North Dakota and she knows his location. Morila told KTVB via Facebook that her son is not running and has nothing to hide. We have all been cooperating, but this has outright turned into total harassment of Brandon and our family. It used to be innocent until proven guilty, now it's guilty without proof. They are even pointing fingers at me and telling me I'm lying and hiding something, she said. Morila claims she opened her home up to police when they came knocking. I gave them food and water, prayed with them and allowed them to run their dogs and people through my house and yard. They did find my toilet was leaking, which I'm grateful for, Morila said. She claims their cadaver dog smelled the poop outside near her vent and crawl space, which was near her leaking toilet, she said. Public Relations Director Mark Sullivan works for the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, a team that has been very active in the search for Michael. Sullivan consulted with canine experts on his team who told him that, no, cadaver dogs do not alert on human feces. Sullivan said that he's never heard of a canine dog being trained to find feces. Each dog has a very specific reaction that it does when it does what it's trained to do, he said via text message. The untrained human may not know, or recognize, when a dog alerts its handler. They came back with 17 cars, dogs, and shovels, and dug where the dog alluded to the following day. They found nothing but my leaking toilet, Morila wrote. We have cooperated fully since this all began. Our attorney will probably be calling a press conference for all this slander. KTVB asked why Shurtlif hasn't come back to Idaho. Morila said his attorney is handling it. I know my son's heart. He loves kids, animals, the elderly. He has such a tender heart. He's always giving of all he has. He would give his last morsel of food or his only shirt. He just always seems to choose the wrong type of people to be friends with, Morila wrote. Huff said he could not elaborate on Morila's comments due to the nature of the investigation. KTVB went to Morila's home in Kuna to speak to her further, but she did not answer her door. Police said in the December press conference they had searched a home in Kuna without a warrant, but did not elaborate. Law enforcement does not need a warrant if the homeowner lets them inside willingly.
5-year-old Michael Vaughn went missing from this neighborhood behind me.
The search for Michael Vaughn continues.
We just want our monkey home.
Fruitland police say then 5-year-old Michael Vaughn disappeared between 6:40 and 7 p.m. on July 27, 2021. His family says he was last seen down the road from where they live on Southwest 9th Street in Fruitland, and he spoke to multiple neighbors.
Every minute counts in these investigations when searching for a missing child.
By fall, police said Michael was likely abducted.
I want to hear him say, I love you, Mom. It was the last thing I got to hear. That was the last thing he said to you. I told him I'd be home to tuck him in.
Multiple agencies, from Fruitland Police and Idaho State Police to Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, scoured the area, searching for Michael on the ground, in the water, from the sky. People from all around the Treasure Valley also helped search for the little blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy, lovingly nicknamed Monkey.
Michael's still missing. He's not home, and we don't have answers. So we keep going.
Monkey's 6th birthday came and went last June.
That one up top is from Monkey's 6th birthday, and all of the Fruitland Police Department signed the ribbon and brought that.
What do you miss most about him?
His hugs, his jumping on me, his kisses, Mama, we do this. His inquisitiveness about everything. Just wanting to see the whole world. I want to take him to catch more frogs.
With each passing day, Michael's mom, Brandy Neal, holds out hope they can make more memories. She and his dad, Tyler Vaughn, speak to Fruitland Police constantly.
Darn near daily.
And know they're using every resource they can.
Their hearts are broken too.
Just weeks after Michael's 6th birthday.
We've received some recent leads that have put us out in the area again, searching more acreage.
Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff announced a tip in a sea of more than 1,000 tips, led them back to the area where Michael disappeared.
Michael's case fell quiet again for a few months until it got very loud on November 11th, 2022. A major break in the case at a home just across the road, just half a mile away from this neighborhood where the Vaughn family lives. Police say they were looking for Michael's possible remains at a home on Red Wing Street, so close. Brandy says she walked there and knocked on the door early on in her search for Michael.
No one answered when she knocked. Huff said a, quote, very credible tip from someone living in the home led them to believe Michael was buried there. Search and rescue crews used heavy machinery to dig up the backyard of this home on Red Wing Street.
Honestly, I didn't really believe it at first. Like it couldn't have been this close. I literally worn my feet to the bone.
We are all very emotionally tied to this case.
Brandy says police told them to hunker down and to stay away from the excavation.
I sat at the end of the road. I watched the trucks leaving with the dirt. But I promised my family, I promised law enforcement, I promised everybody that I wouldn't go over there. It was like day one again. The first weeks, months, not being able to drive, not being able to think, not being able to do anything. Pour yourself into a shower.
The next day, after more than a year and a half, police arrested someone they believe was involved in Michael's abduction. Even without finding a body, they charged one of the people living in the home, 35-year-old Sarah Wandra, with failure to report a death.
Do you understand the allegation that's been made against you?
I understand what they've said is not correct.
But how could they arrest her without finding a body? Chief Huff could only tell me they had probable cause for prosecutors to charge her beyond just statements made.
You're confident that they have more?
They can't tell us, but I'm confident in them.
The judge sealed the probable cause affidavit and other records, not wanting to jeopardize the high-profile case. The Payette County prosecutor said Wandra was on pretrial release at the time, charged with unlawful possession of a gun by a felon. She lives with her partner Stacy, who's been in the Washington County Jail since May of 2022, accused of the same gun charge.
Never seen them. Never met them. We left flyers in the door.
In December, Sarah was committed to the state psychiatric hospital after she was found mentally unfit to assist in her own defense.
It's disheartening. It's upsetting.
Proceedings are paused until her competency can be restored.
But I understand. I understand the process.
According to Chief Huff, she isn't cooperating.
I want answers. I need answers. But I'd like to sit and have a conversation with her face to face with me. But you can't yet. No, not yet. There will be a time.
Crews spent days digging up the Red Wing Street property. They brought human remains detection dogs.
All of them alerting to the presence of human remains. Although the remains of Michael Vaughn were not recovered.
Same December news conference, Chief Huff announced they believe 2 more people have firsthand knowledge about Michael's disappearance. He said Brandon Shurtleff and Adrian Lucien lived at or visited the Wanderers' home when Michael was abducted.
We also believe that there are others associated with the Wanderers, Shurtleff and Lucien, who may have knowledge of Michael's abduction.
Police believe Lucien is bouncing between Ohio and California. Public records show he has a lengthy criminal record in multiple states. Shurtleff also has a long rap sheet. In fact, court records show he has a warrant out for his arrest in Canyon County for violating probation, which Chief Huff knows about. From CUNA, Shurtleff's mom told us he now lives in North Dakota. Via Facebook Messenger, she also told us in early December, investigators and cadaver dogs were at her house for days. He is not running. He has nothing to hide, and we have all been cooperating, his mom wrote. A week after releasing their names, Fruitland police said they made contact with Lucien and Shurtleff. However, they haven't charged the men or issued any arrest warrants. While Huff wouldn't comment on why, he says he's confident arrests will be made in this case.
It's not fair if you have information about Michael and you've watched us for this past 545 days and you haven't said a damn word. And we have to wait and wait and wait and still take care of our family and our lives. Somebody needs to say something, and they need to start talking.
As investigators press on, Chief Huff says they continue working closely with the Payette County prosecutor.
You can't take one of our most precious citizens from us and ever expect us to stop.
I hate these words. But we will bring him home one way or another. We'll never give up.
While they wait for answers.
These are every single card, kind note that has been sent to our family.
Support from their community and from all over the world.
New Zealand. Little kiwi for Michael when he comes home.
Helps their world slowly turn again.
Michael is still missing. We do not have answers to where he is. Please keep sharing his beautiful smile, his beautiful face. He's out there somewhere, and we need him home. Don't forget about him.
Multiple status hearings have been set for Sarah Wandra, with another scheduled for February 6th, which we will, of course, be covering. Meantime, Chief Huff believes they'll be doing more searches. A week ago, he posted on Facebook saying they are following up on new information. While searching the home on Red Wing Street, he said investigators recovered several pieces of evidence. Some were sent to a private DNA lab for analysis, which takes time, as everything has with this ongoing active investigation. Huff told me, quote, "I'll continue to ask for patience as we continue to seek justice for Michael."